explaining these two assignments right here, the final project and the live performance critique. So both of these are a little bit time consuming. You really need to start these, well, especially this one, you need to really start this one early. I'm going to go through the rubric with you and also show you an exemplar of what I'm looking for. So right here, in week one, there's nothing to turn in right here. This is just simply a heads up, like an early heads up. Say, hey, this is coming. This is something you need to be thinking about. But where it's actually due is in week 5. Now, for the final project, let me just draw your attention to these little assignments that are um, within your assignments each week. This one just says complete the Middle Ages section of your project. There's nothing to turn in here. This is just to keep you on track. So after you finish most of the or all of the activities in week 1, I would highly recommend that you do this one section of your project. And then I have that the throughout the course, complete the Renaissance and Baroque sections and so on. So these are nothing to turn in at this point right here. This is just you working on it a little bit at a time, and if you do that, by the time you get to week 5, it's done. So let me show you the rubric first, and then I will show you an exemplar. So what you're going to do is you're going to be creating a PowerPoint presentation that is tracing the development of Western music from the Middle Ages to the 20th century. Here are some of the guidelines of what you need to include, and then this is the rubric. So I'm looking for an appropriate number of slides between 20 and 30. If you go a little over, that's fine. There needs to be information on the slides. Title slides do not count in your slide count. So just be aware of that. Your organization. I want you to treat this project as if you were explaining the history of Western music to somebody. Like this would be your visual aid and what you would use to kind of explain how Western music developed throughout the years. You are going to have your sources cited. There's going to be a reference slide at the end of the project, of the end of the presentation that like I said, I'm going to show you an example of what I'm looking for. You're going to have one historical or cultural event outside of music and briefly describe for each time period. You're going to have one major work of art and or literature, or it could be architecture as well, for each time period, briefly described. Don't just have a list of paintings or a list of historical events with no explanation. I just want it briefly described. Then you are going to have a musical example from each of the time periods. Just one example. Make sure that it is specifically described. Make sure you include the composer, clearly define any musical terms, and so on. So one musical example per time period. You're going to find information on one composer per time period as well. I would suggest that whatever musical example you find, like if you find something written by Mozart, then don't use a different composer, just use Mozart as your composer. You need to include his or her birthplace, at least 3 facts from his or her life, style of music for which the composer is most known. Now, this last one, this is the one that either people forget or they just don't get what I'm asking here. Important style features for each time period, at least one. Now, what I'm talking about, like what was something that was developed in that time period, very popular in that time period. Like if you're going to talk about the Renaissance, you might talk about madrigals. If you're going to talk about the Baroque period, you might talk about opera. If you're going to talk the classical period, you might talk about symphonies, and just talk about like what it is. What are the characteristics of that particular feature? Now, let me just show you. This is something that I've received in the past that I thought was a pretty good example of what I'm looking for. Yes, they have a title slide. You can have title slides. They're just not going to count in your count. So the first one, this is a historical event and a description about a historical event. The next one is for the Middle Ages. And then the next one is this person picked a piece of literature written in the Middle Ages and described it. Then we have a musical piece that is described, and case I didn't make it clear, you need to include the video and also the link, because sometimes when I receive these presentations, I can see that there is a video, but I can't click on it. So make sure that I have the link as well. And then they have information about a composer written in this time period, from this time period, and then a style of music that was um, famous or well known in this time period. And then they just do the same thing for each time period. They just go through and just follow that order and just give me the information. And then at the very end of it, you have a works cited slide. All I need is the website from where you got your information. So it's just slide 2, and then gives all the different websites. So that's what I'm looking for your final project. Now, the other big thing that you have due in this course, let me go back over here, is the live performance critique. Again, this is just an early heads up. It's not due here. It's due in week 5. And let me explain this. So when I had originally developed this course, this was supposed to be a live performance, like you actually attend a live performance. Now, when COVID hit, I adjusted this so it could be a live performance or a video of a live performance. So, and since this is such a short time period, I just keep it that way. I would prefer you go to a live performance, but if not, you can watch a video of a live performance. So what I want you to do is find a performance. When I say live performance, I always mean video as well. So that's all I'm going to say at this point, from this point on. So you can, things that would constitute a live performance would be any instrumental music concert. And like if you have a kid in school, of course, I know this is summer, so this probably doesn't apply. Like if you went to your kid's choir concert, you can use that for your live performance. You can go to any kind of concert. It could be a rock concert, it could be a ballet. You can go to a church service and critique them. Don't tell them you're doing it. This is the summer. There's all kinds of free concerts with venues that have live performances. So anything pretty much will constitute a live performance. If you're not sure, just email me and let me know. So you are going to answer some questions. This is the rubric, but it's also how you're going to give me the information. Now, what I've got here is I've got questions in these tables. And what I've done here is I've included videos to help you to understand what I'm asking for some of these. And as of now, all of these links, all these videos work, but sometimes some of them are removed. So just let me know if one of these don't work. So, so that's what it looks like as far as right here. But what you're going to do, you're going to either download the attached copy, which is right here. I'm just going to open this in Google Viewer because it's easier to see. So you're either going to download this, and it's not coming up. So I don't know why that's not, let me open it up here. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So you're either going to download this or copy and paste it. And all I want you to do is just type in the information in each box. I don't want this in like some kind of paragraph or essay form. I just want you to answer the questions thoroughly in each one of these boxes. So you just start it right here. Well, this one's not letting me do it, but so you just duplicate it and then just answer the questions in the boxes. So again, this is due on the 1st, and I absolutely cannot accept this late because all of my stuff is due, all my grades are due on the 2nd. So hopefully that clarifies the 2 big activities that are due at the end of this course. And if you have any questions, just let me know.